always remember, the flash of an atomic bomb can come at any time. There is a bright flash, brighter than the sun, brighter than anything you've ever seen. And this is very, very important. Sometimes the bomb might explode without any warning. Without any warning.
Life began on this planet some 3.5 billion years ago, and during this time there have been hundreds if not thousands of near-apocalyptic life-ending events. Some that have been mainstream, while others have flown right under the radar, waiting to forever disrupt the continuity that we forever take for granted. This story is no different. The Norwegian rocket incident was a few minutes of post-Cold War nuclear tension that took place nearly 4 years after the end of the Cold War. While not as well known as, say, the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962, nor the Stanislav Petrov incident of 1983, which by this time was still classified. The 1995 incident in question, however, occurred at a time where many Russians, especially in the military, were still very suspicious of the United States and NATO as a whole. In contrast, the Cuban Missile Crisis also had a much longer build-up time of 13 days, whereas the Norwegian rocket incident all took place within 24 hours. The Norwegian rocket incident, also known as the Black Brant scare, occurred on January 25, 1995, when a team of Norwegian and US scientists launched a Black Brant XII four-stage sounding rocket from the Andøya Rocket Range off of the northwest coast of Norway. The rocket was carrying scientific equipment to study the aurora borealis over the islands of Svalbard just east of Greenland, and flew on a high northbound trajectory, reaching an altitude of 1,453 kilometers, or 903 miles, resembling a U.S. Navy submarine-launched Trident missile. The Norwegian and U.S. scientists had also notified 13 countries, including Russia, of their intentions to launch a high-altitude science experiment aboard the rocket. However, the information was not passed on to the radar technicians, and as the rocket gained momentum and altitude, it was detected by the Olengorsk Early Warning Radar Detection in Murmansk Oblast. To the radar operators, the rocket appeared similar in speed and flight pattern as the U.S. Navy submarine-launched Trident missile. Many of the Russian military leaders feared that the rocket was a solitary missile with a radar-blocking electromagnetic pulse payload, and launched from a Trident missile at sea in order to blind Russian radars in the first stage of a surprise attack. In this scenario, gamma rays from high-altitude nuclear detonation would create a very high-intensity electromagnetic pulse that in turn would confuse radars, incapacitating electronic equipment, and after that, the initial attack from NATO would then commence. And as a result, the Russian control center did not immediately realize that the rocket was already heading out to sea by this time. And rather rush tracking the trajectory of the missile, they took 8 of the 10 minutes allotted on whether or not to launch their own nuclear response. Fearing a blind attack, the nuclear briefcase was then given to Russian President Boris Yeltsin, who then had to decide whether or not to launch a retaliatory nuclear strike against the United States. Russian observers determined that there was no nuclear attack and that no retaliation was actually needed, resulting in the saved lives of millions, and all from a simple science experiment that could have ended the world as we knew it.